The back window was dirty, but I could still see something red sticking out from under the old blankets. Among all our shopping bags sat my daughter Sarah's handbag. The bright red color caught my eye like a warning light. My stomach felt funny, like when you know something bad is about to happen. "Linda, stop driving right now," I yelled to my sister. She was humming a happy song and driving slowly. Linda turned her head fast. Her eyes got big. "What's wrong, Margaret? Do you feel sick? Are you okay? Just stop the car." My voice sounded scary even to me. I am 72 years old, and I have learned to listen to that feeling in my belly when something is very wrong. My sister thought I was being silly. I could see it on her face when she looked at me. She made a big breathing sound like she was tired of me. But she still pulled the car over to the side of the road. The car made crunching sounds on the rocks and dirt. That choice to stop the car saved both of us from something terrible. Inside that red purse was something that would make me see my whole family in a different way. Everything I thought was true was actually a lie. We had been away from home for 3 whole days. Linda and I, 2 old sisters, went to the big city to see doctors and go to the bank. We also went shopping for things we cannot buy in our small town. The ride back home is always nicer than going there. Linda drove carefully like she always does. She was singing old songs we knew when we were young. The sun was going down and made everything look orange and gold. It was pretty and peaceful. We had been in the car for about 1 hour when I wanted to stretch my legs and back. Old bodies get stiff when you sit too long. I turned my neck left and right to make it feel better. That is when I saw it. Between the back seats and the trunk area, I saw the purse. That red leather bag that should not be there. It looked like a bomb waiting to go boom. My heart started beating so fast I could hear it in my ears. Sarah, my only daughter, had come to see us at our hotel the day before we left. She gave us big hugs and kisses. She helped us put all our bags in the trunk of the car. I remember her smile and how she said sweet things. "Mom, please drive safe. You know this road gets dangerous when it gets dark outside." Why did those words now make me feel cold and scared? "Linda," I said, trying not to sound too worried. "There is a red purse back there. I think Sarah forgot it." My sister looked in the mirror real quick to see behind us. "Oh yes, I see it. She must have left it yesterday by mistake. We can give it back to her when we get home." "No, I need to look at it right now." Linda's face got all wrinkled like she was confused. But something in how I talked made her know this was important. She started looking for a good place to pull over. But I could not wait even 1 more second. I took off my seatbelt and turned around in my seat. I reached my arm back to try to grab the purse. My fingers could barely touch the smooth red leather. I stretched more and my back hurt. At 72 years old, my body does not bend like it used to. But I was scared and that made me strong. "Margaret, you are going to hurt yourself," Linda said loudly. She was driving faster now, trying to find somewhere safe to stop. Finally, my fingers grabbed one of the handles of the purse. I pulled it toward me really hard. The purse landed in my lap just when Linda found a spot and stepped on the brake hard. The car stopped with a big jerk. Linda turned to look at me. Her face showed she was worried and a little bit mad. "Are you going to tell me what is happening? Why are you acting so strange?" I did not say anything back. My eyes were stuck on the purse sitting in my lap. It was definitely Sarah's purse. Red leather with shiny gold parts. Her initials were written on it in fancy letters. M. Sarah. Catherine. Mitchell. I had given her this purse for her birthday 2 years ago. But something felt wrong. The purse was too heavy. Much heavier than normal. Like it had rocks inside or something. My hands were shaking as I opened the big zipper. Inside were normal things. A small mirror. Pink lipstick. Tissues. Some coins. But under all that stuff, wrapped in a purple scarf, was a phone. But this was not Sarah's regular phone. She always carried the new iPhone with the sparkly case. This phone was different. It was old and cheap looking. The kind of phone you can buy at the store without telling anyone your name. Secret phone. The air felt like it got sucked out of my lungs. Linda leaned over to see better. Her mouth opened in surprise. "What is that? Why does Sarah have two phones? That was exactly the question that made my whole body feel cold like ice. I picked up the phone in my hands. It felt warm, like someone had just been using it. The second I held it, it started buzzing. Message. Then another one. And another one. Someone was sending texts to this secret phone. I pushed the button to make the screen light up. It showed messages from something called WhatsApp. The phone did not have any password. No lock. Nothing to keep secrets safe. I could just open it and read everything. My finger touched the message app. The last chat was with someone saved as just K. The messages were new. Very, very new. K wrote, "They passed the gas station already. 15 minutes ago. They must be getting close now. Stop writing messages." Sarah replied, "Kevin, everything is going exactly like we talked about. 10 minutes ago." My breathing got weird and fast. I scrolled up to read the older messages. Each one I read made me feel more sick in my stomach. Kay wrote, "The car guy said the gas tank is ready. It will catch fire at mile marker 35. Yesterday." My hand started shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Mile marker 35. That was the part of the highway with the big hill. One side has a cliff with a huge drop. The other side has giant rocks. If a car caught on fire there, the people inside would have nowhere to go. They would be trapped. Kay wrote, "Are you really sure about this? She is your mother." 3 days ago. My daughter's answer came just a few minutes after that. Sarah wrote, "We do not have any other choice. The bad men want their money. They said they will hurt us if we don't pay $500,000. We cannot get that much money any other way. Mom has houses and savings worth $3 million. Nobody will think it was anything except an accident on that dangerous road." The phone fell out of my hands onto the floor. Linda grabbed it fast and started reading. Her face changed from confused to shocked to angry. "Oh my God," she whispered really quietly. "Margaret, this cannot be real. This has to be some kind of mistake." But I knew it was real. Everything made sense now, like puzzle pieces fitting together. Sarah visiting us so many times in the last few weeks. Her questions about my bank accounts. Her asking me to sign papers that would give her control of my money. Her nervous way of acting when I said I wanted to wait before signing anything. "Keep reading," I told Linda. My voice sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else. My sister moved her finger across the screen. There were more messages. Lots more. Conversations going back 2 whole months. There were even pictures. Photos of papers Sarah had taken when I was not looking. My will. My bank statements. Papers about my houses. All photographed in secret. "Margaret, we have to call the police right now." Linda was already looking for her phone. "This is trying to kill someone. Your daughter is trying to kill you." "No, not yet," I said. "What do you mean, no?" "Your daughter and that husband Kevin are planning to murder you. We need to call for help right now." She was right. I knew she was right. But something inside me said to wait. I needed to think. I needed to understand everything before I did anything. I looked at the numbers on the dashboard. We were at mile marker 22. The death spot was only 13 miles ahead. The place where Sarah wanted us to die. The quiet inside the car was so loud it hurt my ears. Linda stared at me, waiting for me to say something that made sense. But how could I explain that my own daughter, the baby I carried inside me, planned my death like she was planning a party? "I need to think," I said quietly, holding the secret phone like it was a snake. "I need to understand why before we do anything." "Think." Linda's voice got really loud. "Margaret, there is nothing to think about. Sarah and that evil Kevin planned to kill us. They did something to the car's gas tank. Any second now we could go up in flames." "I know," I said. "But if we call the police now, they will find out we know. And if they find out, they will run away or destroy all the proof. We need to be smarter than them." My sister looked at me like I had lost my mind. Maybe I had. Maybe finding out your daughter wants you dead breaks something in your brain. But while I held that phone, while I read those cold mean messages, something changed inside me. The hurt was there. Course it was. A deep, terrible pain in my chest, like my heart was being torn apart. But on top of that pain, something else started growing. Anger. Not the kind of anger that makes you yell and throw things. No, this was different. This was ice-cold anger. Clear and sharp like a knife. Sarah had planned my death. My only daughter, the child who grew in my belly, who I fed when she was a baby, who I raised by myself after her daddy left us. That same person decided I was worth more dead than alive. $500,000 of trouble. $3 million in houses and money. The math was simple for her, I guess. Margaret, please. Linda had tears running down her face. We cannot stay in this car. If the gas tank has something wrong with it. You are right, I made a fast choice. We are going to test it right now while we are in a safe place. Linda nodded, wiping her eyes with her hand. She slowly started the car, moving forward just a little bit on the empty shoulder. Then she pushed the brake. The car stopped normally. She tried again, pushing harder. The car stopped with a jerk, but it worked fine. It seems okay, Carol said, but her voice did not sound relieved. Maybe they planned for it to brake slowly, I finished her thought. Like the message said. Maybe we have not reached the spot yet where mile marker 35. The details of the plan were so scary. They did not want the car to brake just anywhere. They made sure it would happen at the worst possible place. Place where crashing would kill us for sure. A place where nobody would ask questions. Two old ladies just lost control of their car. That is what people would think. I looked at the phone again. There was a message I had not read all the way yet. Kevin wrote, "The carman says it cannot be found. He used special liquid that makes the gas system break little by little. By the time they reach the bad spot, there will be no way to stop fire. And after the crash, the bigger fire will destroy any proof." 1 week ago. Fire. Of course they thought about fire. They thought about everything. Listen to me, Linda. I turned to my sister and took her hands. They were freezing cold and shaking. We are going to pretend we did not find anything. We are going to act like everything is normal. Normal. Linda looked at me like I was crazy. How can we act normal when? We are going to call Sarah. We are going to tell her we found her purse. We are going to watch how she acts. Margaret, that is dangerous. If she thinks we know. She will not think we know. My voice sounded strong and sure. Because we are going to be very careful. We are going to act exactly like two old ladies who found a forgotten purse and want to give it back. Linda studied my face for a long time. I could see her thinking hard about my words. She was understanding what I wanted to do. You want to catch them, she finally said. I want justice, I corrected her. And I want to make sure when they fall so hard they never get back up. I took my own phone from my purse. Sarah was in my favorites list. Her picture showed her smiling from 2 years ago. That photo now looked like a stranger wearing my daughter's face. I pressed the call button. The phone rang 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Mom! Sarah's voice sounded normal and sweet. Did you get home yet? Is everything okay on the road? Every word felt like a knife in my heart because I knew behind that sweet voice, my daughter was waiting for news that I was dead. Hello, sweetie. I made my voice sound calm and motherly. We have not gotten home yet. Actually, we stopped because we found your purse in the trunk. You forgot it yesterday when you helped us with the groceries. There was silence. Short but enough. A silence that screamed panic. My purse. Sarah's voice had changed a tiny bit. Not so relaxed anymore. Oh yeah, I did not even notice. It is okay, Mom. You can just bring it when you get here. Well, it has your phone inside, I said, watching every word carefully, seeing how it affected her. Your iPhone. I thought you would need it. Another pause. This one was longer. My iPhone. No, Mom, I have my iPhone right here with me. Maybe it is just an old phone I left there a long time ago. She was lying. I could hear it in her voice. The nervous feeling she could not hide. Linda noticed it too. Her hand squeezed my arm tight. Oh, that must be it, I replied, trying to sound casual and not worried. Anyway, you will come by tomorrow to pick it up, right? Yes, yes, I will come by tomorrow. Sarah was rushing to end the call. Mom, be careful on the road. That highway is dangerous, especially around the steep hill part. Drive really slow, okay? The steep hill. The exact place at mile marker 35 where she had planned for us to die. My own daughter was warning me about the place where she wanted to kill me. The irony made me want to laugh and cry at the same time. We will, my love. I love you. I love you too, Mom. Hung up. Those last words hung in the air of the car like poison you cannot see. I love you, I said again under my breath. How can she say that when she is waiting for me to die? Linda did not answer. There was no answer to that question. Right after I hung up, the secret phone in my hand started buzzing. WhatsApp messages coming in fast, one after another. It was Sarah writing to Kay, who was obviously Kevin, her husband. Sarah. Oh no. They found the purse. 30 seconds ago. Kevin. What? How did that happen? 20 seconds ago. Sarah. I forgot it in the car. She just called me. She said they found a phone inside. 15 seconds ago. Kevin. Did she check the phone? Did she read the messages? 10 seconds ago. Sarah. I do not know. She sounded normal, but what if she saw everything? Kevin. We are in big trouble then. Donna. 5 seconds ago. Kevin. Calm down. If she had seen something, she would not have called acting normal. She probably just saw the phone and thought it was yours. Old ladies like her do not even know how to use those phones right. Right now. Old ladies like her. Linda read that message over my shoulder and made a choking sound of anger. I stayed quiet, but something inside me got even harder and colder. Kevin, the man who married into my family 10 years ago, the man I welcomed like a son, was calling me an old lady while planning to murder me. Sarah. What do we do now? Kevin. We stick to the plan. If she knew anything, she would have turned around or called police. The fact they are still driving means she does not know. In less than 1 hour, it will all be over. In less than 1 hour, it will all be over. I looked at the car clock. It was 4:37 in the afternoon. According to their plan, by 5:30 I would be dead. Linda too. 2 victims of a terrible car crash on a dangerous highway everyone knew was risky. We are not going to reach that hill, I said suddenly. What do you mean? Linda looked at me confused. We are going to pretend something is wrong with the car. We are going to call a tow truck and get taken away, but we are not going home. We are going straight to a mechanic shop. Understanding showed on Linda's face. So they write down what was done to the car. Exactly. We need real proof. The messages are important, but a professional mechanic's report cannot be argued with. Linda nodded slowly, wiping away her last tears. I could see her changing too. The first shock was becoming something stronger. We were in this together. 2 sisters against the world. Or more specifically, against my own daughter. Linda started the engine again, but this time we did not drive forward. Instead, she turned the wheel and started going back the way we came. Driving away from mile marker 35. Driving away from the death Sarah had planned so carefully. There is a mechanic shop in the town we passed half an hour ago, Linda said. Her voice was now firm and decided. The owner is Frank. Remember him? He went to school with your husband before he passed. Frank is someone we can trust. I nodded, barely remembering a heavy man in his 60s who had always been nice to me the few times we met. Trust. That word meant something completely different now. I had trusted Sarah my whole life. And look where that trust got me. The secret phone buzzed again. More messages between Sarah and Kevin. Sarah. What if we check the car ourselves to make sure everything is still okay? Kevin. We cannot risk being seen near their house or on the highway. We already did what we needed to do yesterday when we visited. Any strange movement now would make people suspicious if something goes wrong. Sarah. You are right. God, I am so nervous. I cannot stop thinking about. Kevin. Do not think. Just wait. In 1 hour, the police will call saying there was an accident. We will act surprised and very sad. We will go there. We will cry. We will do everything a sad family member does. Sarah, what if they survive? My daughter's question made my blood turn to ice. There was no hope in those words. She was not asking with relief. She was asking with fear that the plan would fail. Kevin, they will not survive. The car guy was very clear. At the speed the car will be going and with how heavy the vehicle is, the fall will be at least 100 feet. Nobody lives through that. And if somehow they do, the fire will finish the job. I closed my eyes, feeling sick. Linda noticed my pale face and touched my arm. Do not read any more, Margaret. We have seen enough. But I needed to see it all. I needed to understand how deep the betrayal went. I kept scrolling through the messages, finding conversations from earlier days. There was a message from 1 week ago that caught my attention. Sarah, I talked to the lawyer. Once we have the death certificate, we can start getting the inheritance. Since I am the only child and I have power over some accounts, getting the money will be almost immediate. At least $700,000 right away. Kevin. Perfect. With that, we pay the loan sharks and we have enough left to disappear for a while. When we come back, we will inherit the rest and nobody will suspect anything. Sarah. Do you really think it will work? Kevin. It already worked before. I froze, staring at that last line. It already worked before. What did that mean? Had they done this before? Had Kevin killed someone else? Linda, reading over my shoulder, gasped. Margaret, that man is a murderer. I kept looking, my fingers shaking as I slid the screen. I found the conversation that explained everything. It was from 3 months ago. Kevin, my dad died exactly the way I planned for your mom to die. Car crash. Gas tank fire. No one suspected anything. I inherited everything. That is how I got the money for our fancy wedding. Sarah, you killed your own father. Kevin, I did what I had to do. He was old and sick. He was going to die anyway in a few years. I just made it happen faster and got our future secured. Now we will do the same with your mother. Think about it. Margaret is 72 years old. How many more years do you think she will live? 5, 10. Is it worth waiting and risking losing everything because of our debts? Sarah, I do not know. She is my mother. Kevin, she is an obstacle. Nothing more. Love does not pay $500,000 debts. Love does not stop loan sharks from hurting us. Or worse. Your mother is our only way out, Sarah. Sarah. Okay. We will do it. Okay, we will do it. 3 words that sign my death sentence. My daughter had chosen. Between her mother and money, she chose money. Between my life and her comfortable life, she chose hers. The car stopped suddenly, and I realized we had arrived at the mechanic shop. It was a simple building with a big open garage where several cars sat in different conditions. A hand-painted sign said, Frank's Auto, good repair since 1985. A man in dirty work clothes came out when he heard our engine. It was Frank, now with more gray hair than I remembered, but with the same kind face. Linda. Margaret. His smile went away when he saw our faces. What happened? Are you two okay? Linda got out of the car first, walking to him. I got out slower, still holding the secret phone in my hand. My brain was working fast, figuring out what to say and how to explain without telling too much yet. Frank, we need your help, I said. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. We need you to check the gas system in this car right now. And we need you to write down everything you find. The mechanic's forehead wrinkled as he looked at our car. Are you having gas problems? Did you feel anything weird while driving? Not exactly, Linda spoke up. But we have a reason to believe someone may have messed with the gas tank on purpose. Frank looked at us with surprise and worry mixed together. It was not a normal request. People do not show up at a shop asking for sabotage to be found. That is very serious, he said slowly. If someone altered a vehicle's gas system, we are talking about trying to murder someone. You should call police. We will, I promised him. But first we need solid proof. Can you help us? Frank studied me for a long moment. Then he nodded. Sure. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to lift the car up and check everything completely. If there is anything wrong, I will find it. While he was getting ready, Linda and I sat in a small waiting room with plastic chairs and old magazines. The smell of oil and gasoline filled the air. Normally that smell bothers me, but now I barely noticed it. My mind was somewhere else, thinking about everything I had learned. Sarah had not only planned my death. She had married a man who killed his own father. How had I not seen it? How had I been so blind? I remembered the wedding 10 years ago. Sarah looked so beautiful in her white dress. Kevin was handsome and charming. He told me his father had died in a tragic car accident just before they met. He had cried telling that story. Fake tears. Now I knew. Crocodile tears while he was probably celebrating inside that his perfect crime worked. And I had believed him. I had opened my home, my family, my heart to him. The secret phone buzzed again. This time it was a phone call coming in. The name on the screen said K. Kevin was calling. I looked at Linda, who shook her head hard. We should not answer, she said. But part of me wanted to hear his voice. I wanted to confirm the monster from the messages was real. I let it ring until it stopped. Seconds later a voice message came. With shaking hands I pressed play. Sarah, pick up the phone. Kevin's voice sounded tense and worried. I need to know if your mother checked that phone. If she saw the messages, everything falls apart. Call me as soon as you hear this. I put the phone back in my purse just as Frank came into the waiting room. His face looked very serious, and in his hands, he held a container with dark liquid. Ladies, he said, his voice heavy. You need to see this. He took us to the garage where our car was lifted up high. He pointed to the gas system, specifically to the tubes that moved the liquid. Look here. Someone put a chemical that eats away at the gas lines. This is something I have only seen one other time in a fake insurance case. This chemical slowly makes the inside tubes weak. The car works normally at first, but after driving a certain distance or using it enough, the tubes break completely and catch fire. How far would we have gotten before it broke? I asked, even though I already knew the answer. Frank did some thinking in his head, looking at our car's mileage number. With the amount of chemical they used and thinking about how heavy the car is, I would say between 10 and 15 miles more. After that, the gas would catch fire completely without any warning. 10 to 15 miles. We would have reached exactly mile marker 35. The death hill. The plan was perfect. Terribly perfect. Can you write all this down? Linda had taken out her phone and was taking pictures. We need proof. I am already doing it. Frank had brought a camera and was taking photos of every angle of the gas system. I am also going to take samples of the bad liquid to test it. This is proof of a crime. Ladies, you have to call police now. He was right. We already had enough. The messages on the phone. The messed up car. The mechanic's documentation. It was time to make the call. But before I could take out my phone, Sarah's device buzzed again. This time it was a different message from a phone number not saved in the contacts. Unknown number. The payment is ready. $20,000 like we agreed. We'll transfer as soon as you confirm the job is done. The corrupt mechanic. The man who had taken money to help commit murder. And suddenly I had an idea. We are not going to call police yet, I said, surprising both Linda and Frank. My sister looked at me like I had lost my mind. Margaret, we already have everything. The messages, the sabotaged car, the physical proof. What more do you need? I need Sarah and Kevin to believe their plan worked. The words came out of my mouth with a clearness that surprised even me. I need them to think I am dead. Only then will they completely let their guard down. Frank scratched his head, looking confused. I do not understand. Why would you want to do that? I sat down in a nearby chair, organizing my thoughts. The cold anger I felt before was changing into something more calculated, more dangerous. Sarah had planned every detail of my death. It was time for me to plan every detail of her downfall. Because if we call police now, they will get a good lawyer. They will say the messages are fake. That someone else used that phone. Kevin is smart. He has done this before. He will find a way to make people doubt. Linda sat next to me taking my hand. What are you thinking, sister? I am thinking we need more than proof. We need them to confess. We need them to say out loud what they did, thinking nobody is listening. That is risky, Frank warned. And maybe illegal. I know. But Sarah taught me something today. I looked at the secret phone in my lap. She taught me that sometimes to survive, you have to be as tough as your enemy. The plan started forming in my mind. It was risky, yes. But it was also the only way to make sure Sarah and Kevin paid for everything. Not just for trying to kill me, but for Kevin murdering his father. For all the lies. All the tricks. I am going back home, I announced. But not in this car. Frank, do you have a vehicle you can lend us? The mechanic nodded slowly. I have an old truck. It is not fancy, but it runs good. Perfect. Linda and I will go home in that truck. This car will stay here as proof. I need you to keep it in a safe place and not tell anyone we were here. And what will you tell Sarah when you arrive? Linda still looked worried. I will tell her we had car trouble on the way and a nice person helped us. I will give back her purse. Her phone. I will act like the trusting, loving mother she expects. And while I do that, I am going to prepare my own plan. Frank lent us his truck, an old but good Ford. Before leaving, I made sure he understood how important it was to keep the car hidden and not mention our visit to anyone. I explained enough for him to understand how serious the situation was, but not all the details. The fewer people who knew, the better. The road back home felt tense. Linda drove the truck while I looked out the window, watching the familiar scenery pass with new eyes. Everything looked different now. The world seemed darker and more dangerous. I could not trust my own daughter anymore. Do you really think we can do this? Linda broke the silence after 20 minutes of driving. We have to do it. Not just for us. For Kevin's father too. He deserves justice even if he is not here anymore to see it. My sister nodded, but I could see the worry in her eyes. She was scared. I was too. But fear no longer stopped me. Gave me power. When we got to my house, the sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and red colors. The house looked quiet and peaceful. Nobody would guess its owner had just found out her daughter planned to murder her. We went in through the front door. Everything was exactly like I left it 3 days ago. The plants needed water. The mail was piled up on the entry table. The total normalness of a life that no longer existed. I am going to take a bath, I announced, leaving my bags in the hallway. I need to think. Linda nodded, understanding I needed time alone. As hot water fell on me in the shower, I let the tears finally come out. I had kept myself together all this time. But now, in the privacy of my bathroom, I let myself feel the full pain of being betrayed. Sarah, my baby, the girl I rocked to sleep, who I took care of when she was sick, who I protected from everything bad. That same girl now wished I was dead. Where did I go wrong? What did I do wrong as a mother? But then I remembered the messages. The coldness with which Sarah accepted Kevin's plan. How easily she chose money over my life. And I realized maybe it was not my fault. Maybe some people are just born with something broken inside them. Or maybe Kevin slowly poisoned her mind over these 10 years of marriage. I got out of the bath feeling stronger and more determined. I put on comfortable clothes and went downstairs to the kitchen where Linda was making tea. Sarah called, my sister said without looking at me. She asked if you got home safely. Told her yes. That you had a small car problem but a kind man helped you. She sounded relieved. Relieved that her plan failed. Or maybe relieved I had not discovered the truth yet. Good. Now I need to make a call. I took out my regular phone, not Sarah's secret one. I looked for a name in my contacts. Emily Watson. My lawyer and friend for 30 years. Emily answered after the second ring. Margaret. What a surprise. How was the trip to the city? Emily, I need to see you first thing tomorrow morning. It is urgent and very, very secret. There was a pause. Emily knew me well enough to hear the seriousness in my voice. Are you okay? Did something happen? I cannot talk on the phone, but I need your help with something legal. Something that could change my will and other important papers. I will be in my office at 8 a.m. Does that work? Perfect. Thank you, Emily. I hung up and looked at Linda. Tomorrow we start building our trap. But tonight, I am going to visit my daughter. What? Linda almost dropped her teacup. Margaret, that is dangerous. If she thinks. She will not think anything because I am going to give her exactly what she expects. A loving mother who knows nothing. I picked up Sarah's purse that I had carefully kept. I am going to return her purse in person. And I am going to watch every little detail of how she reacts. The drive to Sarah's house took 15 minutes. She lived in a nice neighborhood with trees lining the streets. Her house had 2 floors and a pretty garden. I had helped pay for that house 5 years ago. Now that thought made my stomach hurt. I had given so much for her happiness. And this is how she paid me back. Kevin's car sat in the driveway. Perfect. I wanted to see both of them together. I rang the doorbell, holding the purse with steady hands. I heard footsteps coming closer. The door opened and there was Sarah. She looked tired with dark circles under her eyes. She had been crying. Mom! Her voice shook. What are you doing here? I came to return your purse, sweetie. I held out the red bag with a motherly smile. I did not want you to worry about it. Sarah took the purse with shaking hands. Her eyes moved quickly, looking for the secret phone. She found it right where I had left it, wrapped in the purple scarf. Thank you, Mom. You did not have to come all this way. It is no trouble. Besides, I wanted to make sure you were okay. You sounded a little strange on the phone earlier. Strange? Sarah laughed nervously. No, not at all. I was just busy with some things. Kevin appeared behind her. His face was carefully blank. Margaret, what a surprise. Come in, please. I walked into the house I knew so well. Everything looked normal. Family photos on the walls. Comfortable furniture. The perfect look of a happy home. But now I knew the truth hiding behind that pretty picture. Would you like something to drink, Mom? Sarah was putting the purse in a nearby closet. Her body blocked my view. She was probably checking the phone secretly. No, thank you. I just wanted to drop this off and go home. It has been a long day. How was the trip? Matthew sat on the couch. His body looked relaxed, but his eyes were alert and watching. Did Sarah tell you we had car trouble? Oh, that. I waved my hand like it was nothing. A weird noise in the engine. Nothing serious. A very kind man helped us and we could keep going without problems. I saw Sarah and Kevin look at each other. A silent conversation. They were wondering why the plan failed. Why I was standing here alive instead of dead at the bottom of a cliff. I am glad you are okay, Sarah said, coming back from putting the purse away. She looked more relaxed now. Probably after checking that the phone had not been looked at. That highway can be really dangerous. It is, I agreed, looking straight into her eyes. Especially on that big steep hill at mile marker 35, right? Yes, Sarah went pale. That hill is really bad. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. Well, I will let you rest. I just wanted to make sure you got your purse back, my love. Sarah walked me to the door. Before leaving, I hugged her. I felt her body get stiff in my arms. She was uncomfortable. I wondered if she had ever truly loved me or if it had always been just an act. I love you, Sarah, I whispered in her ear. I love you too, Mom. Anyways, it was all lies. I went back home with a heavy heart but a clear mind. The game had started. Sarah and Kevin thought they dodged a bullet. They thought their secret was safe. They had no idea about the storm coming for them. At 8 o'clock in the morning exactly, I sat across from Emily Watson's desk. My lawyer watched me with concern and curiosity as I explained everything. The messages on the secret phone. The sabotaged car. Sarah and Kevin's plan to murder me. Emily listened without saying a word. Her professional face hid the shock she must have felt. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair and breathed out slowly. Margaret, I'm speechless. Sarah is your only daughter. I never imagined she could do something like this. Me neither. My voice sounded stronger than I felt. That is why I need your help. I need to protect my money and houses. And at the same time, set a trap that forces them to confess. Emily leaned forward, her fingers together on the desk. Tell me exactly what you are thinking. Over the next hour we made a careful plan. First, Emily would write a new will that completely removed Sarah as an heir. Everything would go to a charity foundation we would create just for this purpose. Second, we would cancel any power Sarah had over my accounts or properties. But we are not going to register these changes right away, I explained. We are going to date them for today but keep them locked in your safe. If something happens to me, they automatically become real. That is smart, Emily admitted. But there is something else you need to do. You need to move your cash money to new accounts Sarah does not know about. If she has access to your banking information like you said, she might try to take that money before we can act. She was right. Over the next 2 hours with Emily's help, I opened new bank accounts and moved my savings. It was $1 million in total. Money I had saved over my whole life of hard work. Money Sarah thought would be hers. Now comes the tricky part, Emily said, printing papers for me to sign. You said you want them to confess. How do you plan to do that? Sarah thinks I am a silly old woman who does not know how to use technology. A cold smile appeared on my face. I am going to use that belief against them. I am going to invite them to dinner at my house. And I am going to record everything they say. Emily frowned. Recordings without permission might not be allowed in court depending on how you do it. Then we will make sure we do it the right way. Besides, I do not need it for court. I just need it to exist. Once I have the recorded confession, I can use it to get a real confession they give willingly. My lawyer studied me for a long moment. You have become very calculating, Margaret. Sarah taught me well. My voice sounded bitter. She taught me that in this world, you are either the hunter or the prey. Before leaving Emily's office, I made one last request. I need you to investigate Kevin Mitchell. Specifically, I need information about his father's death. You said you have friends in the police. Use those friends. Emily wrote down the name. Do you really think he killed his father? I am certain of it. And if I can prove it, he will not just fall for trying to kill me. He will fall for 2 murders. I left the office feeling more in control. The pieces were falling into place. Sarah and Kevin still thought they were in control. But I was cutting off their access to everything they wanted. When I got home, I found Linda in the kitchen making lunch. She looked tired with dark circles showing she slept little. How did it go with Emily? She asked, pouring coffee. Good. Very good. All my money and houses are protected now. Sarah will not be able to touch anything, even if something happened to me. Linda nodded but did not look relieved. Margaret, I have been thinking all night. Are you sure you want to go through with this? We can still go to police with what we have. Sarah and Kevin are smart. They will get good lawyers. They will say someone else planted that phone. That the messages are fake. Kevin has gotten away with murder once before. I cannot risk him escaping again. But the car. The mechanic documented everything. And they will say it was some enemy. Someone who wanted to hurt them. They will make people doubt. But if I have them confessing on tape, admitting their crimes in their own voices. I left the sentence unfinished. Linda sighed deeply. When will you have the dinner? This weekend. I will tell them I want to celebrate that we got home safely from the trip. It will be ironic, don't you think? My sister did not smile at my dark joke. This could be dangerous if they suspect anything. They will not suspect because I am going to keep being the trusting, loving mother. The silly old woman who knows nothing. The rest of the week passed in a strange way. Everything seemed normal but it was not. Donna called me twice asking how I was, asking if I had the car checked after the problem. Every conversation was like a play where we both acted parts. Her the worried daughter, me the grateful mother. Meanwhile, Emily worked behind the scenes. She called me on Wednesday with news. Margaret, I found something about Kevin's father. He died 11 years ago in a car crash. The official report says he lost control on a curve. But there was one detective who thought something was not right. The car's gas tank was completely destroyed. Too destroyed for a simple accident. Did they investigate more? No. Kevin quickly inherited everything. Sold his father's properties and moved to another city. This town, actually. 1 year later, he met Sarah. It all fit together. Kevin had perfected his method with his own father. And now he was repeating it with me. On Friday night, I called Sarah. Hello, sweetie. I want to invite you and Kevin for dinner tomorrow. I want to cook your favorite meal. The one you loved so much when you were little. There was a brief pause. Tomorrow. Let me check with Kevin. Yes, Mom. We will be there. What time? At 7. And Sarah, bring your appetite. It is going to be a special night. She had no idea how special it would be. For her, it would be the night everything fell apart. The night she would discover her mother was not as silly as she thought. The night the prey would become the hunter. Saturday passed in a tense calm. Linda and I spent the day getting the house ready for dinner. I cooked Sarah's favorite dish. That special pot roast with vegetables she had loved since she was little. Every time I made it before, I did it with love. Today I did it with a completely different purpose. While the meat cooked slowly, I prepared the other important element of the night. Emily had gotten me a small recording device. Discreet and effective. I placed it carefully under the dining room table, hidden in the decorative cloth. I also turned on the recorder on my cell phone, which I would leave on the table casually. Are you sure about this? Linda asked me for the 10th time that day. She was nervous, twisting a kitchen towel in her hands. Completely sure. I tasted the pot roast, adding a little salt. Tonight Sarah and Kevin are going to show their true colors. I just need to push them in the right direction. At 7 o'clock exactly, I heard Kevin's car park in front of the house. My heart started beating faster, but I kept my face calm. Linda positioned herself in the kitchen, ready to serve when needed. I opened the door with a big smile. Sarah looked beautiful as always. She wore an elegant dress and perfectly applied makeup. Kevin stood beside her, dressed nicely but casual. The perfect image of a successful couple. My darlings. Come in. Come in. I hugged them both, feeling the tension in their bodies. Sarah kissed my cheek. Her lips felt cold against my skin. It smells delicious, Mom, she said, walking into the house. It is your special pot roast. Of course. I know how much you like it. Kevin handed me a bottle of wine. To go with dinner, Margaret. What a thoughtful gift. Thank you. I took the bottle, noticing the expensive label. Probably bought with money they thought they would inherit soon. We sat in the living room while Linda served snacks. The conversation was light at first. The weather, the news, small talk about nothing important. But I could feel the tension underneath. Sarah was watching me too closely, like she was looking for signs that something was wrong. How is the car, Mom? Kevin finally asked. His tone was casual but his eyes were alert. Sarah mentioned you had trouble on the road. Oh, that. I waved my hand carelessly. A strange noise. Nothing more. I have not had time to take it to a mechanic yet. I saw them look at each other. Confusion. Worry. They were wondering why the car had not caught fire like they planned. You should get it checked soon, Sarah insisted. Old cars can be unpredictable. You are right, sweetie. I will do it next week. Linda announced dinner was ready. We moved to the dining room where I had set the table with my best dishes. My cell phone sat innocently near my plate. Its recorder was on. The device under the table waited silently. While serving the pot roast, I decided to start planting the seeds of my plan. I have been thinking a lot this week about the future, I said casually. At 72 years old, you cannot help but think about these things. Sarah tensed immediately. Mom, do not talk like that. You have many years ahead of you. Maybe. Maybe not. I took a sip of wine. Anyway, this week I went to see Emily. We made some changes to my legal documents. The silence that followed was so loud. Kevin stopped eating. His fork hung in the air. Sarah looked at me with wide eyes. What kind of changes? Sarah's voice tried to sound casual. Oh, nothing dramatic. I just wanted to make sure everything was in order. The properties, the bank accounts, the will. I smiled sweetly. You never know when you will need these things, right? You changed your will. Kevin leaned forward, forgetting his act as the disinterested son-in-law for a moment. I made some modifications, yes. Emily advised me on certain legal protections. I looked directly at Sarah. Especially considering you have been so interested in my finances lately. Sarah went pale. What do you mean by that? Well, all your questions about the property papers, the powers of attorney, the bank statements. I kept my tone light, almost amused. A mother notices these things. The feeling at the table changed completely. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Linda, from her spot in the kitchen, watched me with concern. I was just worried about you, Mom, Sarah said defensively. I want to make sure you are protected. Protected from what exactly? I let the question hang in the air. Or protected from whom? Kevin stepped in, his voice controlled but tense. Margaret, I think you are misunderstanding Sarah's intentions. She just wants the best for you. The best for me, I repeated, setting my fork down on the plate. Tell me, Kevin, does the best for me include a car ride with a sabotaged gas tank? The silence that followed was complete. Sarah stopped breathing. Kevin became totally still. His face was a mask of shock. What are you saying? Sarah finally found her voice. But it sounded high and hysterical. I am saying I know everything. I leaned back in my chair, watching them calmly. I know about the secret phone. I know about the messages between you and Kevin. I know about the plan to kill me on the hill at mile marker 35. Sarah stood up fast. Her chair fell backward with a crash. That is crazy. What are you talking about? Sit down, Sarah. My voice was cold as ice. And stop acting. I found your purse in the car. Found the phone. I read every message. Every detailed plan of how to murder me to get the inheritance money. Kevin had also stood up. His face was red with anger. This is insane. I do not know what phone you are talking about. Someone is lying to you. Turning you against your own daughter. Oh really? I took the secret phone out of my pocket and put it on the table. Then this is not yours, Sarah. And these messages about the $500,000 debt. About hiring a car mechanic to mess with the gas tank in my car. Sarah looked at the phone like it was a dangerous snake. Her lips shook, searching for words that would not come. You. Kevin started walking toward me in a threatening way. You do not have the right to check private things. I have every right when those private things include plans to murder me. I stood up, facing him. Even at 72 years old, I was not going to let him scare me. And it is not just me, is it, Kevin? You also killed your father. The same method. The same plan. You thought nobody would find out. Kevin's face completely changed. The mask of the charming son-in-law disappeared. Something dark and dangerous showed underneath. You do not have proof of anything. He spit the words out. That phone could belong to anyone. The messages could be fake. But they are not. My voice stayed firm. And I have more than the phone. Have the car. I took it to a trusted mechanic. He documented everything. The chemical in the gas system. The exact plan for it to catch fire at mile marker 35. Sarah began to cry. Big sobs that shook her body. Mom, please. You have to understand. We were desperate. The loan sharks were going to kill us if we did not pay. We did not have a choice. You did not have a choice. The anger finally came into my voice. Your only choice was to murder your own mother. Do you know how many times I helped you when you had money problems? How many times I paid your debts, your bills? And this is how you repay me. You do not understand. Sarah screamed. This time was different. It was too much money. And you have so much, Mom. $3 million in property. Why should we wait until you die naturally? There it was. The confession I needed. Perfectly recorded on 2 different devices. Sarah's words hung in the air like poison. Linda had come out of the kitchen, watching the scene with horror. Kevin realized too late what Sarah had just admitted. Shut up, he hissed at Sarah, grabbing her arm hard. Do not say anything else. But the damage was done. Sarah collapsed into her chair, crying without control. The whole act of the worried daughter had crumbled. All that was left was the greed and desperation underneath. Too late for silence, I said. My voice was heavy with a calmness I did not feel. You already confessed. And every word was recorded. Kevin turned to me. His eyes got narrow and mean. Recorded. I pointed to my cell phone on the table. Modern technology, Kevin. Even us old women know how to use it when necessary. His face twisted into an angry grimace. In 2 quick steps he reached the phone. He smashed it on the floor. The screen broke into pieces. Glass scattered everywhere. There is your recording, he growled. Smiled. It was exactly what I thought he would do. That was just one. There is another device in this room. And copies are at my lawyer's office. Breaking one phone does not erase the truth. Kevin stood frozen, processing my words. Sarah looked up. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Mom, please. We can fix this. It does not have to go to the police. Fix it. I repeated with disbelief. How exactly do you propose to fix attempted murder? With an apology? With empty promises? With money? Kevin stepped in. His calculating mind already looking for a way out. We will pay you the $500,000 we owe, plus extra. Just do not go to police. With what money? Asked coldly. With the money you thought you would inherit after killing me? I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I already moved all my cash to new accounts. Accounts you do not know about and never will. Sarah gasped. What? You cannot do that. That is my inheritance. It was your inheritance, I corrected her. Before you decided you preferred to have it now with me dead. Now you will get nothing. Not 1 penny. I will donate it all before I leave you anything. You cannot do that. Sarah stood up again. Her sadness was turning into rage. I am your daughter. Your only daughter. That money belongs to me by right. You do not have any right to my money while I am alive. And thanks to discovering your plan, I am going to be alive for many more years. I walked closer to her, looking straight into her eyes. Do you know what is the saddest thing about all this, Sarah? If you had come to me, if you had told me about your debts, about your problems, I would have helped you. Like I always did. You would not have given us $500,000, she mumbled. Maybe not all at once. But we would have found a solution. We would have talked to the loan sharks. Made a payment plan. We would have solved it together as a family. My voice cracked a little. But instead you chose to kill me. Kevin started pacing back and forth like a trapped animal. This is your fault, he hissed at Sarah. I told you to check the purse before leaving the hotel. I told you to make sure you did not leave anything that could get us caught. Now you blame me. Sarah yelled back. You were the one who said this was the only way. You were the one crying about the debts. You wanted to keep this expensive lifestyle we cannot afford. I watched them fight, blaming each other, showing the cracks in their relationship. Linda walked over to me, taking my hand in silent support. Enough, finally said. My voice cut through their argument. Your marital problems do not interest me. What interests me is justice. For me and for Kevin's father. Kevin froze. What did you say? Your father. The one you also killed 11 years ago. Using exactly the same method. Sabotaged gas tank. Dangerous curve. Convenient death. I took out a folder I had prepared with Emily. I have the accident report. I have the notes from the detective who suspected but could never prove anything. And now I have the pattern. 2 older people. 2 identical accidents. 2 quick inheritances. Kevin's face lost all color. Sarah looked at him with growing horror. Kevin, is it true? Did you kill your father? He told you, I answered for him. It is in the phone messages. He told you he had done it before. That it worked perfectly. And you agreed anyway. You knew you married a murderer. And yet you decided to help him kill your own mother. Sarah put her hands over her mouth. I could see she felt sick. But I did not know if it was because of Kevin's crime or because they got caught. This is over, Kevin suddenly said. His voice had changed, becoming cold and calculating again. You do not have real proof about my father. That case was closed years ago. And about the car, we will hire experts to show the damage could have been accidental. Or caused by other people. And Sarah's recorded confession. I raised an eyebrow. She was under emotional pressure. Any lawyer will say it is not reliable. We will say you manipulated her. Confused her. He walked closer, trying to look dangerous. You are an old woman, Margaret. Lawyers will argue you are senile, paranoid, making up conspiracy theories about your own family. Try it, I said without backing down. And while you do that, explain to the judge why your wife had a secret phone with detailed conversations about my murder. Explain why a mechanic documented chemicals in my gas system. Explain the similarities with your father's death. It is not enough, Kevin insisted. But there was desperation in his voice now. Maybe not. But it will be enough to ruin your lives. Even if you do not go to prison. And believe me, I will do everything possible to make sure you do. Both your reputations will be destroyed. Nobody will want anything to do with you. No bank will lend you money. No employer will hire you. And those loan sharks you fear so much. Do you think they will give you more time when they find out all hope of payment is gone? I saw real fear appear in Sarah's eyes. The loan sharks. She had forgotten about them for a moment. The original reason for all this. The debt that pushed them to desperation. Mom, please. Sarah fell to her knees in front of me. Her hands grabbed my skirt. Please. There has to be another way. If we go to prison, the loan sharks will come after us anyway. We will be dead within a month. You should have thought about that before piling up those debts. Before choosing murder as a solution. My voice was hard. I am not going to save you, Sarah. Not this time. You are my mother, she cried. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Mothers are supposed to protect their children always. And daughters are supposed not to plan to murder their mothers, I replied. But here we are. Linda touched my shoulder gently. Margaret, maybe we should call police now. She was right. I had gotten what I needed. The confession. Evidence. Everything was documented. It was time to end this. But before I could reach for my backup phone, Kevin moved. Quick as a snake. He grabbed a knife from the kitchen counter. The blade shined under the dining room light as he pointed it at me. Nobody is calling anyone, he said. His voice was dangerously calm. We are all going to sit down. And we are going to find a civilized solution to this. Linda gasped. Sarah stood up, looking at her husband with horror. Kevin, what are you doing? What I should have done from the beginning, he replied without taking his eyes off me. Taking control of the situation. I looked at the knife, then at Kevin. And to his surprise I smiled. Go ahead, I said calmly. Threaten me with a weapon. Better yet, use it. Just make sure the security cameras catch every second. Kevin blinked. Confusion crossed his face. What cameras? I pointed to the corners of the dining room. I installed them this morning. For cameras. All recording in high quality. All sending video live to a cloud server. I was partly lying. There was only one camera. But he did not know that. So please continue. This will only make the case against you easier. The knife shook in Kevin's hand. His eyes moved frantically, searching for the cameras I mentioned. He found one mounted discreetly in the upper corner of the dining room. His face fell apart as he realized every movement, every threatening word had been captured. "This is a trap," he whispered. The knife slowly fell. "This whole thing was a trap from the beginning." "Of course it was," I confirmed. "Did you think I was going to let you escape after planning my death? Did you think I was going to be the silent, convenient victim you expected?" Sarah looked between Kevin and me. Her face showed total despair. "Mom, please. We can leave. We can disappear. You will never see us again. Just let us go. So you can do this to someone else." Linda spoke up for the first time in minutes. Her voice was firm. "So Kevin can find another woman with a rich mother and repeat the same plan?" "No, Sarah. This ends here." Kevin dropped the knife completely. The metal clanged against the wooden floor. He let himself fall into a chair, his head in his hands. "We are finished," he said quietly. "Completely finished." "Finally you understand," I said. I reached for my backup cell phone, the one I kept in my pocket the whole dinner. "Now I am going to call police. And you are going to stay exactly where you are." "Wait." Sarah walked closer, but Linda stood between us. "Mom, wait. If you are really going to do this, at least I need to know one thing. Is there any way you can forgive me someday? Any chance of us being mother and daughter again?" I looked at the woman in front of me, the girl I had carried inside me, who I had raised alone after her father left us, the girl I had given everything to, sacrificed everything for, and now the woman who planned my death with the coldness of someone planning a shopping trip. "I do not know, Sarah," I answered honestly. "Right now, looking at you, I do not see my daughter. I see a stranger. A stranger who chose $500,000 over her mother's life. It was not just for the money." Sarah sobbed. "The loan sharks said they would do horrible things. That they would find us no matter where we went. Kevin said it was the only way to be safe. Kevin lied. Like he has lied about everything since he came into our lives. And you chose to believe him instead of trusting me. That was your real choice, Sarah. Not between money and me. Between him and me. And you chose wrong." I dialed the emergency number. Before they answered, Sarah made one last desperate attempt. "The loan sharks will kill us. Do you understand that? If we go to prison, we will be defenseless. They have people everywhere. They will find us. And they will make us pay in the most horrible way possible. Then maybe you should have thought about that before getting into debt with criminals," I replied without emotion. "Or better yet, before thinking murder was an acceptable solution." The operator answered. 911. "What is your emergency?" "My name is Margaret Spencer. I need to report attempted murder. The people responsible are here in my house right now." I gave my address in a clear, firm voice. "Are you in immediate danger, ma'am?" the operator asked. I looked at Kevin, defeated in his chair, and Sarah crying on the floor. "No, I am not in danger anymore." The police arrived in 15 minutes. 2 patrol cars. 4 officers. One of them, an older man named Officer Davis, knew me from years ago. His face became more and more serious as I explained the situation. I showed him the secret phone, the recordings, the mechanics documentation. "This is very serious, Margaret," Officer Davis said after looking at the evidence. "We are going to need you to come to the station to make a formal statement. And we will need that car as evidence. It is at Frank's shop." Gave the address. "He has all the documentation of the sabotage." The other officers were putting handcuffs on Sarah and Kevin. My daughter was crying uncontrollably, begging them to listen, to understand. Kevin stayed silent. His face was blank and unreadable. "You have the right to remain silent," one officer began, reading their rights. "Anything you say can and will be used against you in court." I watched the scene like I was outside my body. This woman being arrested was my daughter. She carried my blood. She grew up in my house. And now I was sending her to prison. Linda hugged me as the officers led Sarah and Kevin out of the house. "You did the right thing," she whispered in my ear. "You did not have another choice." "I know," I replied. "But that does not make it hurt less." Before they put them in the patrol car, Sarah turned to me one last time. "Mom, please. Do not let them do this. I am your daughter." I did not answer. Could not. If I opened my mouth, I did not know if I would scream or cry. The patrol car drove away. The red and blue lights lit up the quiet night of the neighborhood. Neighbors had come out to their doors and windows, watching the drama. By tomorrow, the whole town would be talking about this. Officer Davis stayed behind, finishing his report. "Margaret, I know this is difficult, but I want you to know you did the right thing by reporting this. Attempted murder is very serious. What will happen now?" "Yes." My voice sounded tired. "Based on the evidence you showed us, they will be formally charged with attempted murder with premeditation. With the recordings, the messages, and the physical evidence from the car, the case is quite solid. We will also investigate Kevin Mitchell's father's death. Will they go to prison?" "Almost certainly. For a very long time." Officer Davis closed his notebook. "You will need to testify in court. Will you be ready for that?" "Yes," I replied without hesitation. "I will be ready." After everyone left, Linda and I stayed in the silent house. The dining room table was still set. The pot roast sat cold on the untouched plates. The wine glasses sat full. The remains of a family dinner that never happened. "Do you want me to stay the night?" Linda asked softly. "Please." We sat in the living room in silence, thinking about everything that happened. I had won. I had exposed Sarah and Kevin. I had protected my money and houses. I had gotten justice. But the victory tasted bitter. "Do you think I will ever be able to forgive her?" I asked in the darkness. Linda took my hand. "I do not know, Margaret. Maybe with time. Or maybe not. But what I do know is you did what you had to do to survive. And that is not something you should feel guilty about." My phone rang. It was Emily. "Margaret, I just heard the news. Are you okay?" "I am processing it," I admitted. "Tomorrow we need to meet. There are legal matters to handle. The will, the accounts, and you will probably want to consider a restraining order in case they get out on bail." "They will not get out," I said with certainty. "The evidence is too solid. Even so, better safe than sorry." Emily paused. "Margaret, I know this is horrible. But you survived. And not only that, you fought back. Many women in your situation would not have had the courage or the cleverness to do what you did." After hanging up, I stared at the night through the window. Somewhere in this city, Sarah was in a jail cell, facing what she had done. Part of me, the part that was still a mother, wanted to run and rescue her. But the stronger part, the part that had fought to survive, knew this was necessary. "Do you think the loan sharks will really go after them?" Linda asked quietly. "Probably," I said. "But that is not my problem anymore." My voice sounded colder than I meant it to. Sarah made her choice. Now she has to live with what happens. Or in this case, survive it. 6 months later, I sat in my garden watching the flowers I had planted that spring. Roses. Sunflowers. The same ones my grandmother grew when I was a child. The morning sun felt warm but not too hot. Perfect for drinking the lemonade Linda had made for me. Life had moved forward like it always does. The trial had been quick and clear. Sarah and Kevin were sentenced to 25 years in prison for attempted murder with planning. Kevin got an additional 20 years after his father's case was reopened. Enough evidence was found to charge him with murder. The similarities between both cases were impossible to ignore. Sarah had written me 4 letters from prison. All 4 sat unopened in a drawer in my desk. I was not ready to read them. Maybe I never would be. The loan sharks had tried to contact Sarah in prison, but the police stopped them. It turned out those criminals were being investigated for many other serious crimes. Most of them ended up behind bars too. The irony was not lost on me. Emily had finalized all the legal changes. My new will created a charity foundation to help older women who were victims of financial abuse by family members. It was a cause I now understood too well. Sarah's name had been completely removed from all my legal documents. More lemonade. Linda appeared with the pitcher, interrupting my thoughts. Please. I held out my glass. My sister had moved in with me after everything happened. Neither of us wanted to be alone. And her company had been healing for my wounded soul. Together, we had started to rebuild a life that did not center around pain and betrayal. This came today. Linda handed me an envelope. It is from the state prison. Another letter from Sarah. Fifth one. I held it in my hands, feeling the weight of the paper. Part of me wanted to open it. Wanted to know what my daughter had to say after 6 months locked up. But the other part, the part that was still healing, knew I was not ready. Are you going to read it? Linda sat down next to me. Maybe someday. I put the letter in my robe pocket. But not today. A bird landed on the bird feeder I had installed near the roses. I watched it eat, unaware of human problems. Living its simple pure life. There was a lesson in that, I thought. About letting go of the past and focusing on the present. Frank called yesterday, Linda said. He wants to know if you need him to check your new car. I had sold the sabotaged car to the police as evidence after the trial. Then bought a new one. One that nobody had touched. Nobody had messed with. One that was completely mine and safe. Tell him yes. Next week would be good. The breeze moved the sunflower leaves, bringing their fresh smell. I closed my eyes, allowing myself this moment of peace. I had survived. Not just physically but emotionally too. I had faced the worst betrayal you can imagine and come out the other side. Not without scars. The scars were there. Deep and invisible. They would probably never completely disappear. But I had learned to live with them. To not let them control who I was. Do you know what is the strangest thing? I said suddenly. I do not miss her. I thought I would, but I do not. I miss the Sarah I thought she was. The daughter I thought I had. But that person never really existed. Linda took my hand. Or maybe she did exist once. But she got lost along the way. The greed. The fear. Kevin. All of that changed her. Maybe. I took a sip of lemonade, enjoying the sweet taste. Or maybe she was always like this and I just did not want to see it. I did not have answers. And I had learned to be at peace with that. The phone rang inside the house. Linda got up to answer, leaving me alone with my thoughts and my garden. I heard her muffled voice through the open window. Then she came back with a smile. It was Emily. The foundation is fully set up. She says they already have 5 cases of women who need help. I smiled for the first time in what felt like forever. Something good was coming out of all this pain. Other women would not suffer in silence like I almost did. Tell her I will come to the office tomorrow. I want to meet those women. The sun kept climbing in the sky. The day stretched out before me, full of possibilities. I was no longer afraid. I no longer looked over my shoulder, wondering who wanted to hurt me. I had learned the hardest lesson of all. That sometimes danger comes from where you least expect it. From the people you love the most. But I had also learned you are stronger than you think. That you can survive even the deepest betrayal. I leaned back in my chair, feeling the sun on my face. At 72 years old, I had started a new life. A life without Sarah, yes. But also a life without fear. Without lies. Without hidden plans of death. A life that was finally completely mine. Linda sat down next to me again. And together we watched the garden in silence. We did not need words. We had been through hell together and come out the other side. The rest of my life stretched out before me like that garden. Full of possibilities for growth. For beauty. For peace. And this time I would live it on my own terms. Without fear. Without betrayal. Just me, my garden, and the quiet that comes after the storm. A butterfly landed on a sunflower nearby. Its wings were orange and black, delicate and beautiful. I watched it for a long moment, thinking about transformation, about how sometimes you have to go through darkness to find light. "Margaret," Linda said softly, "I am proud of you. You know that, right?" "I know." I squeezed her hand. "I could not have done it without you." "Yes, you could have," she said firmly. "But I am glad you did not have to." We sat there as the morning turned to afternoon, the garden growing around us, the world moving forward. And for the first time in 6 months, I felt something I had not felt since that terrible day in the car. Oh, not hope that things would go back to how they were. That was impossible. But hope that the future could be good. Different, yes, but good. My phone buzzed with a text message. It was Emily. The first woman we helped just got her legal protections in place. Her son can no longer access her accounts. She's safe now. "Thank you for making this possible." I showed the message to Linda. She smiled, her eyes getting misty. "See, good things are coming from this." "Yes," I agreed. Maybe that is Sarah's legacy. Not the betrayal but what came after. The good that rose from the ashes. That night, I finally opened the desk drawer where Sarah's letters sat. I looked at them for a long time. 5 envelopes. 5 attempts to reach me from behind bars. My hand hovered over them. Part of me wanted to rip them open. To read her words. To understand if she was truly sorry or just sorry she got caught. But I was not ready. Not yet. Maybe never. And that was okay. I closed the drawer gently. Healing does not have a timeline. Forgiveness does not have a schedule. I would read them when I was ready. If I was ever ready. And if that day never came, that was okay too. I walked to my bedroom window and looked out at the quiet street. The same street I had lived on for 40 years. The same houses. The same trees. But everything felt different now. Stronger. Wiser. More aware of the darkness that can hide in people's hearts. But also more aware of my own strength. My own power to fight back. To survive. To thrive. As I got ready for bed, I thought about the woman I had been 6 months ago. The trusting mother who thought her daughter could never hurt her. That woman was gone. And in her place stood someone new. Someone who had looked evil in the face and refused to back down. Linda knocked softly on my door. "Are you okay?" "Yes," I said. And I meant it. "I really am okay. Good night, sister." "Good night." I lay in bed, listening to the sounds of the house settling. The familiar creaks and groans of an old home. My home. My safe place. Tomorrow I would meet the women at the foundation. I would hear their stories. I would help them protect themselves. I would turn my pain into purpose. And maybe, just maybe, that would be enough. Sleep came easier than it had in months. My dreams were not haunted by Sarah's face or Kevin's threats. Instead, I dreamed of my garden. Of flowers growing. Of butterflies. Of new beginnings. When I woke the next morning, sunlight streamed through my window. Birds sang outside. The smell of coffee drifted up from the kitchen where Linda was already awake. I got dressed with care, choosing a blue dress that made me feel strong and confident. Today was the first day of my new purpose. The foundation. The women who needed help. The good that would come from my suffering. As I walked down the stairs, I paused at the family photos on the wall. Sarah smiled at me from a dozen frames. The baby pictures. The school photos. The wedding day. I looked at each one, feeling the ache in my chest. But the ache was different now. Softer. More like an old bruise than a fresh wound. "I am going to take these down," I said to Linda over breakfast. "Put them in a box somewhere. I am not ready to throw them away, but I cannot look at them every day anymore." "That is understandable," Linda nodded. "We can do it together this weekend." The drive to Emily's office felt different than it had 6 months ago. Then I had been driven by anger and fear. Now I was driven by purpose. By a desire to help others avoid what I had gone through. In the office, 5 women sat waiting. They ranged in age from 50 to 80. Each one looked tired, uncertain. I knew those feelings well. Ladies, I said, sitting down with them. My name is Margaret. And I am here to tell you that you are not alone. That what is happening to you is not your fault. And that together, we are going to make sure you are protected. One woman, probably in her late 60s, started crying. My daughter emptied my savings account last month. Took $200,000. The bank says there is nothing they can do because I had added her name to the account years ago. There is something we can do, I said firmly. We are going to fight for you. We are going to make sure she faces consequences. And we are going to make sure it never happens again. As I listened to their stories, as I offered advice and comfort and hope, I felt something shift inside me. The last piece of my healing clicking into place. Sarah had tried to destroy me, but instead she had transformed me, made me stronger, given me purpose. And in a strange, twisted way, maybe that was the greatest gift she could have given. Not the gift she intended, certainly, but a gift nonetheless. When I returned home that evening, exhausted but satisfied, Linda met me at the door. How did it go? It went well, I said. Really well. I think I finally understand why all this happened. Not to excuse Sarah. Never that. But to give it meaning. To turn tragedy into something good. That night, I sat in my garden one last time as the sun set. The sky turned pink and orange and purple. The flowers closed their petals for the night. The world grew quiet and still. And in that moment I felt complete peace. Not happiness. Not yet. Maybe not ever in the way I had known it before. Peace. Acceptance. And the knowledge that I had survived. That I was still here. Still standing. Still fighting. Still living. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything.